Hello everyone. Hopefully by now you've already taken some time to go through the Canvas page, and maybe even we've met in person by the point that you're watching this, but it's hard to say for sure. In any case, just under the assumption that you might not have seen me already, my name is Lucas Everham, and I will be your instructor for this semester of General Math, where, just to get started here, we're going to have most every week begin with a video like this, at least in terms of the online content, where over here we're going to have stuff about what you can expect to see, a general outline for the week, and then over here we're going to have a general list of deadlines you can expect for what's to come, which obviously right now doesn't make a whole lot of sense on a blank board, but, well, in about 30 seconds you'll come to understand what we've got here. Where, because this class is weird and is one half of a textbook, we are not going to be starting with Chapter 1, but instead we're going to begin with Chapter 4, although that's actually a very natural place to start a discussion of math, because what Chapter 4 is about is numbers, the most basic unit of any sort of mathematical endeavor. Well, to a point, but you guys aren't going to have to worry about that. Anyway, we're starting off here with section 4.1, which is a discussion of positional systems, where we're going to give a rough definition of what a number actually is, what we might want to do with a number, why we have numbers, and then we're going to talk about some numeration systems that we can use to describe them. First, looking at our system, the Hindu-Arabic system of numeration, or Arabic numerals if you prefer, along with some other historical systems for comparison, including here the Mayan system, along with the Babylonian system, because there's really nothing that says the one that we have now is the only one that has ever been, or the only one that could possibly be. So we're going to take a couple of options here, and then later on in the chapter next week we'll see some different ways that things could have gone as well. And then from there, we're going to move on into section 4.2 to talk about some work with number bases. So we're going to introduce the idea of what a number base is, then talk a little bit about, well, counting up to 10 as we're used to, where there's nothing that says we have to count to 10. We can count to a smaller number, or if only I had more fingers, we could count to something larger. But the point here is we're going to be looking at that sort of discussion. In particular, the main thing we're going to focus on is conversions, going from our comfortable, it's maybe too much to ask for there at this point, but I'll say comfortable, base 10 numeration to other number bases and back. So that's what we're going to be looking at in terms of topics for the week. Then for deadlines, there might be some stuff hanging around here at the beginning depending on exactly how the first week is timed, maybe a early pre-assessment type thing, but mostly the big thing I want you guys to get is used to how this class runs in terms of where you can find things and what sort of deadlines go when. So with that in mind, the first major deadline is for the worksheet, our first worksheet of the semester, which we're going to spend a lot of our time in class if we have that. I'm trying to future-proof this as well for online versions of this class, but you're going to have that worksheet to basically get you some practice here with a bit of structure on what sort of problems you're going to be doing with this, where that's going to be due by Friday. And from there, we have other unique deadlines for this week, the big one being the attendance verification assessment due at the end of the week. That's a very, very basic Canvas thing. It's just bookkeeping. It shouldn't take you very long at all. Like, there is some important stuff to think about when you're working with that, because there's some syllabus stuff, but it's not meant, at least for me, to be hugely stressful, because the purpose is mostly to make sure you have a grade in case something comes up, so you have something in the books. Then, after that, we're going to have our first set of deadlines in my lab for next Tuesday. And I'm keeping it as next Tuesday because I want you guys to get used to the idea of Tuesdays being the time to finish with the previous week's work. So that's going to be 4.1 and 4.2 due then. But I understand that because it's the first week, there are some money issues. Maybe you didn't get as much in tips last Friday as you thought you would. Maybe your disbursement check is running slow this year. Maybe there's a shortage on books in the bookstore. Any number of reasons why you might not have been able to get what you were supposed to. Well, I am probably going to extend that deadline just a little bit, but I want to set it up as you can expect it to be going forward, which is Tuesdays. And then from there, we got one more thing, which is the pre-assessment for next week. So this sort of fits in with the worksheet as your attendance and participation scores, where that one is meant to help you start getting ready for what we're going to see in week 2. That is the back half of chapter 4 and a little bit of chapter 5. So that when we're discussing things ourselves, when we're working on the worksheet, you're not coming in from zero. So it's meant to nicely all flow together to make these things fit as nicely as I can force them to into a, scheme, I guess. I don't know. Words aren't always my best friends. That's why I'm a math teacher. But anyway, that's what you've got to get done. This is what we've got to look at. So let's get it in there and start looking at chapter 4.